Huples cat, enjoying a morning cup of coffee. It's better. Why don't you grab a coffee and a vegan snack, come along with me and Wolfie Terrier and have a little look at today's video. Today's video is all about so there's two bedrooms here and a living room and a kitchenette, and it is a basement, which is very useful, as we will talk about. One of the things you'll notice, there is some noise and there's very little way of furnishings here. But the noise is basically because the house has a furnace inside here. So all of this stuff obviously belongs to the homeowners who are actually upstairs. They are a couple, they have a little kid. So there is stuff in here that could be possibly used, I'm not quite sure, if I had to stay here for 2 weeks. I'm not under any illusions here. If this was January or February, this house, even with some of the blankets and stuff that's here, because there is a fireplace, if you can use the fireplace you could probably hang out here. If you can't use the fireplace you might be in trouble. But I have no idea if the fireplace works or not because I'm not the homeowner. So come on, let's have a tour of a Airbnb in Canada. Every home should have a little Wolfie Terrier. Well, Kitty's bedroom has a little bit more cupboard space and it has a tiny bed. She likes a tiny bed and she claims I snore. She of course brought her yoga mat so she can do her yoga exercising. It's good insulation as well. So when you're in a new place, spend 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes, you don't need more than that, thinking about what would I do if there was a nuclear emergency and I had to stay for 2 weeks. A plastic bucket, it's probably waterproof. That's going to contain a fair amount of water. Could also double up as a toilet. And the kitchen, of course every kitchen should have a Wolfie Terrier. It's a fairly basic kitchen, electricity, microwave, all that sort of thing, fridge, freezer, electricity. Again, in a nuclear emergency, a nuclear war type scenario, all of that's going to stop working. Rationing, I have enough coffee. I actually have coffee elsewhere as well. This is completely not workable for a 2-week period in a nuclear war. Unless you have decent strong car kits. We have decent strong car kits. The car kits alone will feed us and water us for a period of time, which should probably be about 2 weeks maximum in terms of the water. But one of the things I do is I keep telling people is grab as much water as you can. There's not much glassware. There's not many pots. What there is, fill with water. There is no bathtub, which is a major problem. A good decent bathtub's really going to be able to hold a lot of water for you, and that's all going to be drinking water. There is some spices and stuff like that. How old they are I don't know, but in the nuclear apocalypse they're going to work for me. I'm going to use them. You know, you want to have a good look at the drawers. Basic water filtering, little things with tea in, little containers with salt, empty containers, chickpeas. Yes, that's oats. So there is some foodstuffs here, and it's probably on the minimal side. There is some aluminium foil that could come in handy. Chopsticks, basic cutlery. So both me and Wolfie are very curious, and we like to have a look around ourselves, and we always do. What's where? Right, Wolfie, is there any food? Just in terms of having an awareness and curiosity about your external environment and your internal environment is a good thing to have as a prepper. But knowing what is available to you before you need to use it is really key to prepping. When these are empty, wash them out, or don't wash them out, and fill them full of water and seal it. It will be working just fine for you for a week or 2 or even longer. If you manage to clear it out properly, then it could last 6 months or so with the water in here. I would use this type of water store early because it's got contaminants in it. Little bowls, you can fill them full of water. If you have any water bottles, fill them. That needs to be filled up. Any empty wine bottles, these are full ones, think about them. Hand washing. Again, any bowls, any containers, empty them out and clean them if you've got time and fill them full of water. Any toilet supplies, any plastic bags, absolutely useful. Don't throw them out, don't overlook them. What's in the freezer? Absolutely nothing. What's in the fridge? Not a lot of stuff, enough stuff to get you by for a few days, not much longer than that. This is the fireplace, and because of the time of year we haven't used it. There is some wood here, and that wood would probably last about 24 hours, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less. And just looking at it, I would say this is a functional fireplace. That's a game changer. If the people who own this, who are upstairs, don't have a wood fireplace, I really think they'll have to come down here and be with us, certainly in the winter. And the design of this may or may not mean that you can actually boil water on here. That would be a really useful thing, if it could. Really nice old fireplace, quite impressed with that. And being in a basement, having a wood fireplace, kind of is one of those things that if you're traveling, you can get from an Airbnb, but you can't get from a hotel chain. Now, I don't get free breakfast. Vintage Samara, might leak, might not, fill it full of water. Ornamental vases, fill full of water. Little vases like this, chuck them out, fill that full of water. This is the thing I noticed in this house, is that they have these like baskets and they put like linen pouring out of them. I can't see the point, and it's definitely not an artistic thing that I think is good. There are a couple of little candles, they'd be kept for emergencies. Again, this is all fake, so you can empty these out and use the bowls for water storage, though this one's probably not going to work very well. Any Kleenex, any paper towels, think fire starting. If you have empty beer cans and empty wine bottles, fill them full of water. Again, drink that water very early on, not late on, because it will be contaminated. Most sinks are not watertight over a period of time. This is minimal water, but you can drink this, and you will drink this if you get thirsty. And you'll be happy to drink this, because right now there's no radiation in this. If you take water after a bomb falls, or bombs fall, or a power plant explodes, there will be radiation in most water and most food sources. The goal is to have as little radiation as possible enter your body. Okay? Let's fill it to there, and then we will stop. So we'll come back at the end of the video and see if the sink retains water over time. What I don't recommend is washing out stuff. For example, the used soy milk containers and the vases that are around the place, just fill them full of water. So at the end of filling everything you can with water, if you still have water supply from the mains, then start cleaning out the obvious dirty ones first. Dirty water from a mains tap in a normal house probably won't kill you. Yeah, there's a little bit of water in there, but you know, think carefully before you're drinking stuff like that. It isn't fresh, clean water. It's been in a container for years. There's maybe algae in it. Now, what are you going to do about toilet? Now, I do have some toilet roll. Do I have others? Yes, I do. So I have a little bit of toilet roll and some Bounty. So I can possibly, dryer sheets. So I possibly can have enough toilet roll for a week with careful use. I would continue to use the toilet roll in this situation, which I normally wouldn't where I live, to use the toilet. And I'll be very careful with that and careful with flushing it. I know at some point it's going to block. When it blocks, I'm going to use water to flush it down, and then that toilet's finished for use. Now, a lot of hosts don't take things seriously, but they do. They have a nice first aid kit. And I actually was going to do a mini review on this because it's got medical survival tools in it. But it's actually sealed, so I'm not going to do that to them because they might have to rebuy one. But the survival tools are basically a tiny compass and a whistle. That's about it. If I'd filled everything up, I'd see if I can actually put water in here and keep it from draining away. That would be a huge source of fresh water, which would taste a bit of laundry soap, but whatever. There's some laundry detergent. Again, that's going to be hand soap. Fabric softener is not much use to you. A mysterious soap in there, so that's actually got soap in it, which is cool. So as you can see, it's pretty basic. Yeah, there's some towels, there is some linen, there's some stuff lying around. But the fact that it's in a basement and has what appears to be a functional wood stove is a really, really key thing for me, and one of the reasons why we picked this Airbnb. There's the water heater. Preppers everywhere will tell you have gallons of water in there, and you do. But if you're not emptying it out once or twice a year and draining it and cleaning it out, I'd be very reluctant to use it. Using a mop system like that to fill that bucket up with clean fresh water strikes me as a really smart move if you've got the time to do it. It's not the end of it, of course. There is other stuff that we have access to. We may have access to the upstairs of the house. The people who are here may or may not actually welcome us helping them out. I think if you keep your distance and you keep your time, You know, will they insist that we move on the Monday if a nuclear bomb goes off on the Friday? They might. If they do that, I'm not leaving. In a nuclear strike that's already happened scenario, I'm staying in place for at least 2 weeks. If the place is safe, and this can easily be made safe from radiation because of where it is and the fact it's a basement. So I'm not going to leave voluntarily at the end of the tenancy, which would be Monday. However, if I felt that we were heading towards nuclear war in the next few hours or day, I would actually go with Kitty and abandon what we're doing here. We're here for family reasons and also for dental surgery and stuff like that. So every so often you have to leave your home and you have to go into the wilds of urban life, and you have to actually take risks. Life is about risk. This is a risk. You can't live in a metal bunker all your life eating MREs and thinking you're safe, because at the end of the day you won't have lived a life, and life is for living. So you have to see family, you have to see friends, you have to have dental surgery done, you have to have dental work done, because certainly if bombs start to fall, nobody's ever going to give you dental work again, are they? Now they do have a garage entrance which is actually just by the entrance to this place, and they have a sort of okay, adequately stocked normal suburban garage. These people clearly are not preppers. I found this, and this actually has like an old candle in it, and it's kind of dark, so it's got bags and stuff in, and probably Christmas ornaments, and who knows what's actually in here. Again, if you have the time and nobody's bothering you, root through this stuff, have a look at it. Think about this, you know, can TV boxes and stuff like that be repurposed into insulation for the floor if you're sleeping and you don't have enough mattresses? So half an hour later, there's still water in the sink. It doesn't seem to be any to come out. So that's a fair amount of water. But I wouldn't rely on it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got something out of it. If you did, feel free to give me a like. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to make a comment. If you got nothing out of it, then I'm sorry. One of the things you need to be doing is have a survival prepping mindset. So this goes beyond doing specific tasks. Anytime you're in a new place, anytime you're in a new area, spend 5 minutes or so on entry to that area, thinking about what resources are there in this area that I can use if everything fails. What resources are in this area I can use if we're having a major problem but nothing's actually failed in terms of society, and how can I get out of this area, or how could I stay in this area if I needed to. Don't just assume that you can get off the subway if you're on the subway. In certain nuclear strike scenarios, you're on your subway and you're staying there for a week or two. And if you don't stay there for a week or two, you're going to get radiation poisoning and die. But if you have a decent backpack, it's not going to be a struggle. But you could have enough water, and you could have enough food, and you could have enough warmth to make it through at least a 72-hour period, and possibly even a 5 to 7 day period in a subway system, having experienced a city-wide strike of nuclear weaponry above you. It is possible. The one thing you want to do in any nuclear event, whether it's war, terrorism, or accident from a nuclear plant, is to be as far away as possible from the explosions, to be as far away as possible from any windborne fallout, and to limit the time that you're exposed to radiation. You need to do all of those three things, which is why staying in a basement where you can block windows and everything else and actually have sealed rooms with no windows in them that are buried into the back side of the house, the garden, and having a room like Kitty's room that actually has no windows because it's actually below ground is a good idea. The one thing that worried me here, and I haven't heard any sign of it, I don't see a sign of it, is sump pump activity. This is on a hill, so there shouldn't be a need for a sump pump. The water table should just drain down, but that's a possibility. If you pick a basement, it might flood. So that's it from me, and that's it from him. This video has been brought to you by Very Hungry Terrier Productions 2022. Wolfie, he's waiting for his mum to come home. The area itself would provide almost no wood, but just down the road there is a park system that actually has a ton of trees in it and fresh water, well, freshish water. So your wood and your water supplies would actually be fairly safe here. Of course, security would be pretty minimal.